onto your butts.
Well, good evening, fellow heretics. Welcome to tonight's episode of Nerds and Heresy. I'm your host, Captain Dadpool, along with my friend Natty Nat, and our guest tonight is Rob from the Atheist Underground. Rob, why don't you take a few minutes and tell us about yourself?
Thank you. I'm an old guy. I've been been doing this for 10 years or so as far as atheism and atheist activism is concerned. When my kids, I have two sets of kids from the same mom. I have an older daughter who just had a baby. She's 24, and I have two other kids that are 13 and 12. It just worked out that way. But the point of that is that the older daughter, I kind of steeped her in atheism. I kind of indoctrinated her, if you will, to my idea that there is no God. And I feel like I failed her in some ways and learned my lesson when she backlashed during high school and kind of developed her own spirituality and kind of rebelled against Dad's idea of atheism. She was not a Christian or anything like that, but I think she believes in a higher power. And I feel like it would have been better if I had let my kids come to that on their own and taught them about world philosophy and world religion and just left the God talk off the table and let them decide on their own. So with my younger kids, I never, not for 1 minute, ever brought up God or lack of God or anything. I just left it off the table completely. And then as soon as they went to the public school, they came home with a concept of God. Having been indoctrinated by the teachers at the public school, all the kids on the playground, you know how that goes. Do you believe in God? Now everybody talks about that, right? But the music teacher at their school decided it would be a good idea for Thanksgiving to teach the kids a song that was basically a prayer that we all learned when we were kids that went, "Thank you for the food we eat. Thank you for the world so sweet. Thank you for the birds that sing. Thank you, God, for everything." This had been put to music, and the music teacher, heavily Catholic, decided that would be an appropriate Thanksgiving song to teach the kids. All of a sudden, my kid came home, and he knows about God. And he had I'd asked him before. I said, "What do you guys know about God?" And my kid's like, "I hear people say, 'Oh my God,' and that was the only concept he had. He was hearing phrases. That's all he knew, And then here he goes to public school. He's not there for fucking 3 months, and he comes home, and someone's taught him about God. So I'm like, you know what? I'm getting to a point in my life where I want to give back. I don't know, should I get into politics? Should I get into activism in the community somehow? And I realized that atheism was it. And atheism is the last civil rights movement in this country that's supposed to be a secular country. Atheists have no voice in government. We have no standing in society. We're the most hated minority in society, according to polls. And so I figured I'd do that. And I went on a mission, from then on out to be first join atheist groups. And I found some atheist groups and realized that they were really just like old hippies, older than me, who wanted to just sort of sit in a room and grouse and not really do anything. And I wanted to do events and whatever, debates and podcasts and anything I could to be an out there atheist, billboards. I wanted to be a rabble rouser. And so I, found the other people that were like-minded, and we started groups that would do events and bringing in speakers and doing podcasts and raising money for atheist billboards in town and getting ourselves on the news and shit like that. And, all of this evolved until this TikTok thing came up. And, my buddy who helps me do this stuff said, "Why don't we start a TikTok?" And I'm like, "That's for kids, isn't it?" Like it's like my daughter dances on TikTok and lip syncs. But we did it. We did a few videos, and it took off in a way that I could have never have imagined. And the Atheist Underground was conceived as a virtual railway, traveling around an imaginary secular society and making different stops at parts of the atheist movement: mythicism, free thought, secularism, skepticism. And then I would make the podcast on that topic, depending on where the subway stop was that week. So when the TikTok came about, I'm like, yeah, I'll just go with the theme and get the hat and get the whistle. And it turned into kind of a brand that I can't really let go of. Now people don't even recognize me without the hat on, So
I actually, the very first time I ever saw you was actually during one of your limerick videos. I didn't even know that you were part of the atheist community, but the algorithm put you in front of me.
Yeah.
And I very much enjoyed the limerick. I was just like, oh, I wonder if this because you don't really see poets nowadays that are just like humorous. I was expecting like a Shel Silverstein type of thing, and I NSFW type Shel Silverstein.
Right.
And I popped onto his page and I was like, oh, it's atheism. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And started following you after that.
Yeah, I actually have like hundreds and hundreds of just dirty limericks written that don't have anything to do with religion. But among those were a handful of anti-religious ones. And so I just thought of it for the TikTok. I'm like, why not start doing skits? Because for a while I would just do me talking, informational style, answering questions, whatever. And I'm thinking, oh, I can break this out into limericks. So I do. I read poetry, and limericks come really easy to me. I was in college. I would make up limericks about my friends and crack people up. And so I'm like, what a perfect thing, It's just like shove it up religious ass with dirty limericks, Because I can never offend enough. I can't find enough ways to offend people. So
it's very fun.
It is fun, I can't deny it. I like to do it. It works. And so the limericks, people love them or hate them, but they crack me up, so I'm not going to stop doing it.
I enjoy how classy you are when you present them, though.
Sir Hugo, yeah.
Yes.
So I gotta ask, and I think this might serve as a nice transition into our topic. You got a roll of toilet paper behind you. I can't stop staring at.
Other direction.
Yeah, is that for emergency situations? What's going on there?
I'm a guy who can't stand having anything in my nose. If it drips a little bit, or if I feel anything, I gotta blow my nose. So I always have toilet paper handy for that. It's not for anything else, honestly. I have socks.
Okay,
I have socks for that other thing. But yeah.
Well, see, I was worried since you're an older guy. I didn't know if you had bowel issues that you just had to have those by you at all times.
I do have that too. Yeah, thanks for bringing it up.
Anyway, so the topic of tonight is anti-vaxxing, which you have a lot of personal stake in. Do you want to go into that a little bit?
I was married to a woman that I got divorced from 5 or 6 years ago. We have shared custody of our kids, and I have a unique situation where she was out of work for a while, and when she got a job, it was in North Carolina, and I'm in Wisconsin, and so she had to move to North Carolina to take this job, and that's an issue when you're sharing custody with kids. One party needs permission to. We got a little feedback.
Oh, it was just sometimes he clicks on comments to pop onto the screen.
Oh yeah, you're clicking. It's me doing transitions and highlighting comments and all that.
As long as it's not affecting the show. But yeah, the deal was that she had to move to North Carolina, and she did not have any support system there. She wanted to take the kids with her. I'm like, you're not taking my kids to North Carolina. You don't have any friends, no family, you're a new job. I'll keep the kids until you're settled, and then we'll work something out. Well, she makes a lot more money than me. She's in the banking industry. And after 2 years of me having them by myself, she was ready to take them. And so now she has them by herself, and I support and we'll go down there and see them and whatnot. But the upshot is they're with her now all the time, and they're getting older, and they're old enough to get the vaccine. Well, when COVID hit, I think she was a victim, honestly, of being home all the time and having time to be online and just watch these videos made by conspiracy theorists. And she just started buying into them, and they fed into what she does know from her job, which is in the banking industry, Wells Fargo. She's privy to world scale banking information. You know what I mean? And so some of the stuff that she sees going on there can feed the conspiracy theories, which to her all revolve around a conspiracy to consolidate all of the world's wealth into 4 major corporations and leave the rest of us in abject poverty.
God.
And all of this is tied together in her mind now. And we're always in lockstep, philosophically. Atheist, left-leaning, not crazy leftist liberal whack jobs, but definitely not Republicans and not right-wing weirdos, But since this all went down, she has become a full-on Trump supporter, conspiracy theorist, anti-vaxxer.
And she's an atheist, right?
She's an atheist, yeah. But this is a person who always, even though she was an atheist, she always felt like she's like a spiritual. She's one of these atheists who believes that witchcraft is real and that spells can be cast and that, there's power in certain things. She went to a fortune teller and believed this, psychic, what the psychic told her, and like goes on about it. And it's just like, are you really an atheist? I mean, I can't get my head around that.
You keep using that word. I do not think it's
exactly. So she went over the top with the whole conspiracy thing, and now I'm faced with. And she's a really domineering person. We get along. She and I get along now, which is nice. When you have kids and you're divorced, it's nice to get along with your ex. And she's a very hot-headed, dragon lady style type A personality who's like, if you get on her bad side, it's really hell. you know, and I'm done with that part of my life. I don't want to hear her bitching at me. We're divorced. It's like, why don't we still be married if you're going to act like this toward me, you know? But so I want to keep the peace, you know, and we're getting along, and I send her some money when I'm not there, and I come down there, and when I'm down there, I stay at her place, and I do the cooking, and I take care of them for some days, and yada, yada. But now I'm faced with a situation where she's refusing to get them vaccinated, right? And they've got to go back to school, and they're going to take grief from their friends who are, and they're going to be an out group because they're not vaccinated. They're not going to be allowed to, I don't know what yet. It's North Carolina, so they're fucked up anyway down there with the religion shit. But she lives in Charlotte in a good school district. The schools are good. And I don't know, you know, I'm like, how do I bring this up without just starting a huge shit fight? Shit, you know, it's like, to me, they're smart kids at 12 and 13. You got a certain amount of body autonomy. And she cannot get vaccinated if she doesn't want to. What are you going to do? But how do you know, so I'm in this bad position right now about, you know, do I take them and just do it, you know, and risk the wrath of the dragon lady, or do I have a discussion with her, which just won't go well? It's just turned into a shit show. Sorry. But there's no reasoning with people like that, like you probably know. Yeah. Like, there's nothing I can say that is going to make her understand it. It's just fucking simple virology, you know. The people aren't trying to kill you; they're trying to kill a fucking virus, right? Yeah. You know, the government, and I'm not a guy. The government is as fucked up as anything in our lives, right? I don't trust the government. I don't believe what the government says. But it's not the government pushing the vaccine. It's the fucking medical and scientific community around the world. In order to believe that this is a conspiracy theory, you have to believe that every scientist and every medical professional in the fucking world is somehow complicit. How impossible would that be to pull off?
It's pretty crazy. And you know, the sad part is living in the Bible Belt. I can tell you there are so many, like every time I've gone to the doctor, there has been a nurse or someone that makes a snide comment about not getting vaccinated, despite the fact that they work in the medical industry. I don't understand why they are not understanding and accepting their own like information, but it's a pain in the ass being here, because every time you go to a doctor, you don't know if you're going to get it's so political. Like as a woman, you have to go to doctors, and half the time you don't know if you're going to come across a doctor that's going to actually listen to you. You don't know if you're going to come across a doctor that's too religious for you. You don't know if you're going to come across a doctor that will refuse birth control and everything because you are feminine and don't have like a sexual partner, or if you do have a sexual partner but you're not married. So it's a pain in the ass finding a doctor, let alone finding one that's like, yeah, the vaccination is a real deal. You need to get it. Because like I do have a doctor that does this. She's a feminist, and I mean, she's a woman, so she understands women, but that's something that a lot of people are struggling with, at least in my area, is finding one that a medical professional that actually understands and accepts the reality of the science that's been published versus the versus the political statement of the world, and how it swings.
Yeah, I had somebody recently come after me and accuse me of being pro-capitalist, which I've never said anything even remotely suggesting. But anyway, that doesn't matter. They accused me of it anyway. And I was like, no, not at all. But one thing you can say about capitalism is that they like to keep people alive so they can take your money and get your votes. You know,
but at your cost.
At your cost, right. But capitalists are not trying to kill you, because that doesn't do them any good.
Right. And do you guys know Oliver Niehaus, 18-year-old kid who does brilliant work? Look him on TikTok. He's got millions. He's right here in Milwaukee.
Wait, is he the one who does live debates all the time?
Yeah, I think he does. He does.
Yeah, like on
what's that site?
Niehaus, Knee, Niehaus. I don't know if that's a real name. Maybe it's his last name.
I'm pretty sure I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I've been following him like pretty early on in my TikTok career.
Yeah, he's got millions of followers, and the kid is 18, and he's so, I can't even believe it. When I was 18,
he's smart as a whip.
Yeah, smart as a whip, and he researches shit. He knows what he's talking about. He was making the point that because people will say, well, you know, if the government is so interested in handing out free vaccines, why don't we get free flu vaccines, and why don't we get free? And he's like, because the government has a vested interest in stopping a pandemic. Just like what you just said, they can't have people dying en masse. They don't have a vested interest in curing diabetes. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So you're going to have to pay for your
that.
insulin. Right, exactly. It's real obvious. But a pandemic, and
we are one of, I think, a handful of countries that still allows various drug companies to actually advertise for commercials on our television. Now, granted, everyone streams nowadays, but I can tell you when I was overseas, I never saw a Pfizer commercial. I never saw like Moderna commercials. I didn't see like AstraZeneca and all those fun little commercials or like ask your doctor about Singular, like that kind of stuff. It's not something you come across in other countries, and yet
and
here
it makes
in America,
sense.
we advertise for it like crazy.
I think we do it in New Zealand, does it? I believe, and
no, New Zealand's not allowed
New Zealand?
to.
What am I thinking of?
That was one of the places I was talking about.
Well, if you got socialized healthcare, it wouldn't make sense. Why? Those companies wouldn't have to advertise. It doesn't make any economic sense. But shit, we've gotten to the point where the Catholic Church is advertising, for Christ's sake, trying to get people to come back by putting ads on TV.
Gosh.
When religion is so bad that they need to advertise on TV, things have gotten bad for religion.
It is New Zealand.
March 20th. It is New Zealand?
Boom. It is New Zealand.
No shit. I thought that must be a recent thing. That cannot be. That can't be.
As of March 2021.
Oh.
According to
that's really recent. I haven't been there since then. I don't keep up with it that fast.
Yeah, that was a Reagan thing, which he did in the name of capitalism, being allowing pharmaceutical companies to advertise.
But Reagan also was controlled by Nancy, and Nancy was controlled by her psychic. So
yeah,
that is also true.
The Reagan years were good times. You kids are too young, man. You remember Reagan?
Yeah.
Reagan?
I was.
I am not sad I missed it.
I wasn't born yet, but that doesn't mean I don't know a thing or two.
Well, he ushered in the whole born again movement. There wasn't.
Of course he did.
There was no born againism in the 70s. You never heard anybody say, "I'm a born again Christian." That was a marketing tool that came around with
drugs.
It came around with Reagan and his, like you said, his wacky wife. So thanks, Ron.
They were nice people, but
Ronald Reagan was just a sentient dog whistle.
Yeah,
I will say
everything was a dog whistle.
There's a story I heard about a time when Reagan was supposed to land at a certain airport, and Nancy Reagan said that her psychic said that he would be shot on sight if he didn't land at a certain particular time. So she controlled Air Force One to fly around in the sky for around 3 hours past its original time to land, just to prevent him from being, assassinated.
Yeah, great stuff,
Right.
And what's crazy about this whole anti-vaxxing thing is it stems from us, from America. Like that's where it all started with a YouTube video called Plandemic that started getting millions of views. Like I did some research before this, which weird, I don't usually do. But apparently it started, and before it had started getting fact checked, it was already translated into 10 different languages. It started here. And one person I wish I had saved a quote. He's like an expert on social media influence, and he said this is a American disease that is becoming a global pandemic. And he talked about other politicians who have gone to Germany and held rallies and talked about all the anti-vaxxing and other conspiracy theories, like just spreading the shit in other countries where it wasn't previously. So it originated here.
Yep. And with that origination came the concept of, well, what harm does it cause? And then Jenny, what's her face, showed up, or whatever the fuck her name was. The anti-autism commercial and how
that was a big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a huge part of it.
Autism.
Yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, which any idiot knows. Autism is genetic. It's not something a vaccine.
Yeah. I believe we have someone in the comments that asked, "Have you gotten the shot?"
I have.
Yeah. Okay. So we're all vaccinated.
Yeah.
Well,
in fact,
it didn't affect me at all.
Vaccinated for a bunch of shit that he doesn't know about.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's a effective cure and prophylactic against a nasty disease. Who the fuck wouldn't get it? I don't understand people who.
Jenny McCarthy. That's her name.
Jenny McCarthy. Yeah, she's and the original anti-vaxxer thing was years ago, though. I mean, the autism study was years ago.
I saw
and that movement has been going to the point where we got measles coming back, right? And
yes,
and shit that we eradicated. Yeah.
Actually, that was mentioned in the article. I'm trying to find it now.
And the article was instantly debunked, right? The bad study was instantly debunked.
If you ever find any article talking about anti-vaxxing, it will always allude to that first article. But that first article has been debunked so many times, like I think almost 10,000 times.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. And that first article, and the scientist who did that first article has proven and finally came forward and said, yeah, I didn't actually do an experiment. I just wrote what I thought.
Do we call him a scientist? I mean, that guy should be pilloried. What an idiot.
I don't remember his name, but I'll have to look that up sometime.
No,
but
history should forget his name. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, right.
Really, it's really embarrassing.
Discredited in the scientific community. I don't think he's been able to publish anything else.
But the legs that has amongst people who would, not actually look for the truth is amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
We brought up Reagan earlier, and I want to bring this up as well. So anti-vaxxers are also and tend to be anti-maskers, right? But let's talk about who the anti-maskers were back in the 1980s, 1970s, 1980s, when AIDS came out, which was a non-airborne non-airborne virus, and all of the ads included people wearing masks to protect their family. There's been this was all during the Reagan, so the whole AIDS epidemic was advertised with people wearing masks constantly, and it seemed like the far right were adamantly wearing them, and the far left were like, this disease cannot be spread via air. So it's just interesting seeing that flop happen right now when we actually have a pandemic that is airborne. And
what is the deal with not wanting to wear a mask? It's like, I don't want you gobbing on me anyway. Never mind COVID.
I like
anything. It's like
I love it. Like, I love wearing masks, and I know that sounds weird, but I have my own issue with people breathing in my face.
Right.
And prior to this pandemic, I wanted an excuse to force people to be back a ways from me. So now if I wear a mask, they either think, one, I'm sick, or two, I'm a libtard, which means that they're going to leave me the fuck alone.
It's an introvert's dream.
I know. I love it.
No, I don't understand it. I don't want anybody breathing on me. And I'm not a guy who gets sick. I'm not one of these, paranoid people. And I don't tend to get sick very easily. But that still doesn't mean that I'm going to not wear a mask. Why do you want? I don't even want. Just keep your bad breath to yourself, man.
Right? No, I love the different designs that have come out. I have on back order right now. I have ordered that duck mask.
This bitch.
If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm
lips.
I'm very excited to get it.
That's cool. I have one that says, "Don't touch me, peasant."
Don't touch me, peasant.
Yeah, I like that one.
Okay. I have another one that is from Alice in Wonderland that says, "We're all mad here," and then I have one that has the bloody rabbit from Monty Python. I mean, I have a bunch of really weird ones. I have one that looks like I'm drooling. I love it.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the rabies of drool. So, I think it's
that's been a good part of the mask thing has been the cool design.
Oh yeah, I love the fashion of it. It's great. And then there's people that are making like old witch doctor masks, and there was someone that's on TikTok I saw recently that has these skull masks that are like hardened, and they normally made them for steampunk stuff, but now they've added like a filter on the inside, which is great. I thought they were really interesting, really creative. And honestly, why not? You don't have to put makeup on. You just put the mask on. And I think it's a good point. Good idea.
That's a good point. Save lipstick money.
Right.
I like that. I
remember hearing this other non-atheist related podcast that I listened to. There's a host on there that was going off about that. He's like, making all these fun, cutesy designs is normalizing wearing a mask. We shouldn't be doing that. And I was like, all right, this is where you go back to talking about what you're supposed to be talking about, and you shut up about this.
Right?
Yeah,
No,
so,
I absolutely believe that normalizing wearing a mask should be a thing, especially
that's
since
a good thing.
Asia, or there are parts of Asia that are highly polluted, and they have been wearing masks for
For
years.
years. I was just going to bring up the
Absolutely
pollution thing.
years.
You know,
Yeah.
there's so much particulate matter, and I
Oh,
work
yeah.
in an
I think-
industry that's dirty.
I think
It
people in LA
can't
should
hurt.
wear it all the time.
You don't
It's
hear them
so
going, the
popular.
government's trying to oppress us.
Well, they are in a communist country, so
Well,
they're
for
being
different
bad.
reasons. For different
They're just used to it.
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
What I don't
for them.
get is the people that want us to get back to normal, the people that were against the lockdowns, the people that are against the masks, they all want us to get back to normal as fast as possible, but they won't take the vaccine either.
No.
So it's like, what the fuck is it you want? You know,
They want herd immunity, but they don't want to participate.
they don't know what herd immunity is. If they did,
don't
they'd wear
know
a
what
fucking
that
how
mask.
that works.
They don't know what it means at all.
They
And
don't. We're really suffering from.
With the different variants, herd immunity is literally
No, it's out the
impossible
window for us
until-
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's out the window for us. It's not
Yeah.
going to happen.
I mean, if the flu can't get herd immunity yet, then COVID's definitely not.
No, we're suffering from living in a society that's been undereducated for generations now, and I feel like I'm the last generation that got a decent education. Unless your parents were able to send you to a private school and really cared about your education, public school, I don't know what they fucking learn anymore. It's absolutely embarrassing. I had to fight the public school here, and not just the incident I told you about with the Thanksgiving song. When my kid got to 4th grade, he had to tell the teacher to stop teaching them about God. He had to bring up that this is not your place to teach us about Christianity. This is the public school. And it launched a huge fight that I had to get into and got on the news and brought FFRF in and had lawyers write letters. This teacher had her classroom littered with the Bible. Quotes from Galatians. Quotes from the fruits of the Spirit passage from Galatians was
Oh my
up.
gosh.
And she didn't have the verse up there. I knew it, like most atheists. We know the Bible, right? I recognized it right
Weird
away.
how that works.
Some other parents recognized it right away. She had an advertisement for a Christian concert. Come praise with us, a Christian guitar player, just up on her wall. Like that was normal.
I will say, I wish that I would have had a parental figure like yourself to help back me up in a few of the arguments I got into when I was in high school, because where I went to high school was very Christian. FCA was one of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes was one of the biggest clubs at school.
I was president. Of FCA. Yes, I was.
But FCA is everywhere, and it was a pain in the ass whenever I would be in science class. Thank God, my biology teacher, my sophomore year was great. My biology teacher, my freshman year, not so much. He was super nice, but he believed in. I don't think it was young Earth, but he was under the concept that evolution was created by God. It's like God continued to perfect his creatures as they went on.
Sure,
like that was that's his ideology.
Yeah,
and,
he wasn't powerful enough to do it all at once.
No, but I mean, trial and error is a thing, but but not for God. But the amount of times I got into arguments with, I had a teacher that was also like a youth pastor at one of the churches here in town. And she'd be like, come to church on Sunday, you come hang out with us. We're going to go do this. We're going to go do that. And she'd just encourage it. And there was one time I was just like, aren't you not supposed to bring up church at all in class? And I started arguing with her, and I was just like, the whole Darwin versus the Board of Education and that whole thing. And she was just like, I'm sorry, this isn't a history class, this is English class. You don't need to be back-sassing the teacher. And I was like, well, I'm not back-sassing the teacher. I'm trying to ask you to focus on grammar rather than focusing on the word of God. Right. And I got sent to the principal's office. Wow. I was so outspoken, but I was also very much an outcast from society in high school. It was a pain in the ass. But the thing is, everyone knew who I was. It's just I wasn't popular.
Right.
I was just that. I was that
notorious.
Kid. I was notorious.
Yeah.
It was fun.
See, I was the annoying Christian kid who always tried to talk about Jesus.
Oh, I fought those kids.
That was me.
You were one of the ones that I'd walk up to and be like, God doesn't love you. And then I'd leave.
And I would be like, you just don't understand.
Oh, no, honey. Your IQ is too low to understand.
I don't know what I would have said. Probably
God loves those that he creates with a lower IQ.
I was somewhere in the middle, but I was a poor country kid at a rich boarding school.
Oh gosh.
And I was a geek. I was an AV geek, and I wasn't very athletic. I wasn't popular for different reasons, but I was churchy, but I wasn't preachy. So that part was all right for me.
I was sad when I was given an opportunity to go to a boarding school. I should have gone in hindsight, but I chose to stay because I didn't want to move again. As being a military brat-ish, like moving around as much as I had, I was like, I'll stay all 4 years at one school. I'll do it. I ended up not, but because we moved again. But somewhere between that line, I was offered a position at a private school, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I was terrified that it was going to be Christian based. And and mom was like, well, they don't say anything Christian on it. I was just like, it's private school. It means Christian.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was not a correlation. Like it felt like there is, but I guess not. Anyway.
I was wondering, like, going back to what I was saying earlier about how this like originated in the US, like what is about us and our education system that made this a breeding ground for all the wild conspiracy theories, the QAnon. Like other countries don't have that shit. That is uniquely us that they are starting to get ideas from.
Well, one of the things
what is it about America that
one of the things I argue is Americans
our two-party
are all
political
about
system?
equality.
What is it?
Well, they're all about equality, right? So they're going to treat every student like an equal. But instead of treating them like an equal, they just treat them all the same. And when I say the same, I don't mean like, black kids, white kids, that kind of thing. I mean like all kids are learning this. And there might be kids that are getting graded better for certain, like in Spain, for instance, when you graduate middle school or their intermediate school, they get to choose if they want to go into a culinary school, if they want to like start learning about engineering, if they want to learn about technology, if they want to learn like they get to like choose where they want to excel in their education. So that's not something that we don't even do until college, and even then we have to experiment in college to find out what we actually want. That's not an opportunity that we're given here in America, and part of the reason why is because we don't want to spend the money.
Like I've talked about before, I had to repeat 6th and 7th grade just because of math. I was good in science, history, English. Like I passed everything, no problem. But math, I failed, so I had to repeat the entire year just because of that. And there was no summer program at that time, so
you were like that 18-year-old that was in 8th grade?
Yeah, pretty much.
Beating kids' ass because
see, I actually I started a year earlier than most, so I was actually younger than everybody, and then I was like slightly older than everybody, but not too older. Like it wasn't that weird.
Yeah.
No, our education system is beyond flawed.
We weren't prepared. I think both my parents were public school teachers, and so I grew up seeing the problems kind of that went along with having a diverse group of students that kept on growing, and in classrooms that went from 15 to 30 kids in a class, and kids from different backgrounds, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different home struggles, different cultures, different religions. Everybody used to be Christian except for the one Jewish kid in class. Now you got pagans, Muslims, Buddhists.
Which actually I think is everything. Great. I love the worldview, but the problem is the teachers aren't given the resources to be able to work with that many students. They're
not. And we teach in America now to pass tests, to get the most amount of kids to pass the tests on the basic shit, so the school doesn't get punished, for not having enough kids in the core subjects learning. So that individuality is lost. There's no concept of allowing the artist kid to excel at art. Just try to get him through science, math, and reading, and move on. And it's just become a shit show. I don't know what they learn. Honestly, I don't know what kids learn in school anymore.
Say what you want about socialism, but a lot of their money goes straight to education, and those kids get what they need when they're in the classroom. And that is one of the things that is the most impressive concepts when it comes to democratic socialism. I'm a big fan. So,
samesies.
And it is easier if your society is more homogeneous than ours is. I mean, the critics aren't wrong when they say that, but that's not an excuse.
No,
we need to find the right solution for our incredibly integrated, pluralistic society that we have.
Again, we focus so much on getting people to college that it's a problem for our own trade system. Like, you don't need to go to college. I'll admit to that. It depends on what your interest area is, and I don't like the fact that because we're a capitalist nation, that we choose to go into fields that will make us money versus going into fields that we like. Because if you go into a field that you like, you're going to do a better job. If you go into a field that makes you money but you hate, you're going to have a really rough life. I mean, I don't get paid a whole lot for what I do, but what I do is something that I love, and that makes it worth it in the end for me.
Which is funny because I remember, like, in grade school, like, every time the teacher asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" by far the most common answer was a lawyer. That's what
because
I'm talking, like, middle schoolers wanted to be lawyers because they make the most money. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but I distinctly remember a very disproportionate amount of people saying they wanted to be lawyers. Like,
ask
you don't be a lawyer because you're interested
in a different
law.
country. No,
like,
no.
You just want money.
Ask that question to a middle schooler in a different country. You will get really, really different answers.
Yeah.
I mean, but nobody's the same, and they all accept that. Like, there might be someone. I know that there was a kid when my mother taught overseas. She did the same thing. She asked the question. She's like, "So what do you guys want to be when you grow up?" And she got answers like, she wants to be. There was this one guy that wanted to be a bookkeeper or a librarian. Like, that was what he wanted to do, and he was only like in 7th grade. And there was another one that's like, everybody wants to be a firefighter, but there was someone that like still wanted to be a firefighter when they were older. There was another that wanted to be a Peace Corps doctor, which makes no money. Like, he wants to be out doing something, traveling. There's another one that was like, I want to own a hostel or a hotel so that they can meet people from all over the world. And I mean, it's just like this hospitality route was amazing.
You know what my answer was?
Church
a
boy.
Pastor.
A cop.
What?
I wanted to be a cop. Yeah, dodged that bullet. I tried.
Did you
try to be a cop?
I didn't know that.
They before I joined the military, I tried, and they had like X amount of positions, and they gave them all to veterans. So I joined the Army, and then it's like, don't want to be a cop. No thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ended up being a correction officer, which is similar, but
I think kids at that age mimic what they hear at home. I did, and they what they hear at home is be a doctor, be a lawyer, or not so much a doctor anymore. But back in my day, there was 3 or 4, right? Doctor, lawyer. I can't even think, but that make the big money in society.
Yeah.
So
it was all that's what it was all about.
Pharmacist. Doctor, lawyer, pharmacy rep.
Pharmacy rep. Yeah.
Pharmacy rep. I don't think it was pharmacy rep. Not for me anyway.
Oh, that was the one that my
realtor. Maybe it was a realtor.
Maybe. Being a pharmacy tech or a doctor was what I was pushed into by my own family. They were
doctor, loyal realtor.
They're like, if you can't be a doctor, be a salesman, but be a salesman for drugs. And I was like, that sounds sketchy.
You can either sell drugs legally or sell them illegally.
Both make money. One has a bad effect.
Right.
Anyway.
Yes, democratic socialism is different from social welfare economics. That's true, but democratic socialism also expands the budget beyond the military getting everything. So that's all I want to say to that. Sorry,
and
Jim.
Take it from me, the military has more money than it needs. Has more money than brains.
So much.
Like
we all know that.
Like they get a certain amount allotted to each unit per quarter or whatever, and if they have not spent that by that time, they will lose it. So they go, okay, we have all this money that we haven't spent, and it's about to go away if we don't spend it. So let's buy a bunch of useless shit and then put it away in storage. That's exactly what I've seen happen multiple times.
Yeah, and that's not exclusive to the military. That happens in a lot of places.
Oh yeah,
budget like that.
I've witnessed that personally.
I bet
we do that a lot in the forestry department and the Army Corps of Engineers. We're giving specific budgets, and if you don't meet those budgets, they're reduced the following year. Now the thing is with those types of programs is like they're really necessary some years and they're not so much other years. But if the budget goes down and then suddenly they're needed, they're screwed. They can't do anything with it.
Right.
So yeah, it's a pain in the ass when you have to deal with stuff like that. No, but do you think it's right that Okay, so I'm going to say this with the understanding that my opinion is that it is. But do you think it's right that we are able to turn people away because they haven't gotten their vaccine from businesses, from locations, from flying on airplanes, etc.?
Yeah, I think it's the government's right to protect the people. Your desire to be an individual or to have certain rights stops where it endangers the public. That's just the way it is. And you brought up the AIDS epidemic years ago. It was the same thing. If you know you have AIDS and you go around having unprotected sex on purpose, you can be brought up on murder charges. It happened to people. If they can prove that you're doing that on purpose to go out and you're a bug hunter and you got sick with AIDS and you're going out and trying to infect people on purpose, that's an issue. You don't get your personal freedom does not extend to the point where you can endanger the fucking public. And if this, and I'll be the first guy to admit that I probably do believe that the media is overselling the actual danger to the average person. That's still not an excuse not to get the vaccine and protect the people that are at risk. This is my ex-wife's big thing. She's like, oh, there's that. They're just making it up. They're overblowing. I have yet to see one picture of a hospital with no room in it. And she's not wrong. I don't see a lot of that on the news. They all breathlessly talk about how hospitals are over booked. There's not enough beds, and they're going to be putting people in gymnasiums who are sick with COVID and stuff. Yeah, I do believe that the leftist media overspins the danger, and that's just an evolution that I've watched through my lifetime. They didn't used to count everybody who died during a summer heat wave the way they do now. Now it's like if you have a heat wave that is sort of a mild heat wave compared to some that I've known in the past, they'll tell you that 2,000 people died in Chicago from the heat wave. Well, some of them died from this and that and this and that. They were probably it was exacerbated by the heat, so that gets put down to the heat wave. It didn't used to be that way, but as we move forward, sensationalism becomes a bigger deal for the news. That's how they sell tickets. So the news is going to overstate the danger from COVID and make a bigger deal out of it than it is. None of that is a reason not to get vaccinated against a shitty disease. So
I have a unvaccinated neighbor who recently came home after 2 weeks in a hospital with COVID. And he now has PTSD from being in this hospital. And the reason why is because they put him in basically a basement with a window that had blinds that were shut the entire time. He couldn't get out of bed. He had a TV, and the only company he had were other people on ventilators who were dying. And he watched multiple people, like multiple morticians, or I guess security, because the security is the one that comes and gets the bodies and heads to the mortician or down to the morgue afterwards. And he's petrified. Like, he didn't think that he was going to make it out. He was freaking out. And I think the depression of, I mean, one of the things is, like, anytime they were like, oh yeah, quarantine, it sucks, and they show like a window and someone can see someone from the other end, but what we don't see is how the treatment of these COVID patients are with those that have the ability to heal, but they're sitting in a room full of people that aren't. And they're like, I feel like some of the reason why some people give up is because the morale in those rooms and those areas are close to being a POW. Like, you are just stuck and you can't do anything. Like, it's like being in prison. It's awful. But he came home, so he's good. But at the same time, he's still suffering mentally. Like, he needed socialization so badly just to know that he wasn't stuck in this room.
Yeah. This wasn't quite my job. I was a security guard for a hospital. And typically it's the security guard's job to go and secure the body and literally take it from the loved ones while they're crying, and then take it to the morgue or the where they do autopsies or whatever. But yeah, that was a big part of my job, is have to wait outside, let them do their mourning, listen to them mourn, and then go and be like, sorry, we have to take them now. And that was very difficult to do.
Yeah, Korea. The long-term impacts are, I mean, everyone talks about long COVID, but let's talk about the impacts of being in a hospital for a long extent of time and then being thrust back into society saying that you're okay when you haven't had any visitors and you haven't been treated like a human being for a while, because it's just as bad as leaving like a prison cell. You don't know how to re-engage with the public. And I'm watching my neighbor have to go through that, and he was told like his kidneys were failing, all this stuff was going wrong. He's still on oxygen. And they were just like, "Oh, okay, you're fine now. You can go home. Here's some oxygen," and they just sent him home. And he's grateful to be home, but at the same time, it's these long term the people that end up with paralysis, the people that are end up having long term like fuzziness in their head. Like when he wakes up in the morning, he says that he doesn't know if he's actually here or if he's still at the hospital, and it causes him to have another panic attack, and it's a problem. Some people who shouted that business didn't have to sell cakes to gay couples because businesses can make their own rules on who they serve are now crying over them exercising that with vaccines.
Yeah, you know,
You are true.
Businesses have every fucking right to protect the rest of their
Oh, the
employees.
irony.
I don't have any sympathy for people who cry about that shit. I don't, and governments too. I watched a video. There was a woman in Israel who is breathlessly making a video about how the next Holocaust is here because Israel is not allowing her to go to certain events or not allowing her kids to go back to school because she won't get the vaccinated. All these things, and she's comparing it to the Holocaust, like they were putting them on a train and shipping them off to a fucking concentration camp where they're going to be killed. It's like, again, I'm no fan of the Israeli government, but they're trying to fucking kill a virus. They're not trying to kill people, and it's their it's their right. It's their right to keep. If they think that you're being unvaccinated is a danger to the public, you know what? I don't know how you can complain about that. Just suck it up. Get the fucking vaccine.
And they're also a danger to their employees.
Yes.
Like if you say we don't care if you're vaccinated or not, you don't have to wear a mask. Come right in. You're saying fuck you to all of your employees.
What percent of anti-vaxxers do you think are just afraid of the needle?
99.76%.
Really?
I'm just curious.
They're
I
just,
mean,
they're just
I know everyone
they're
hates shots, and I feel like
I'm being hyperbolic.
I don't know.
I just like calling them whiny bitches. That's
right.
Yeah.
I feel like there's at least 20% of those that complain about getting vaccines or refusing to get them are ones that are deathly afraid of needles, which
it was the easiest, shortest little needle. I barely felt it, honestly.
That was literally the best vaccine I've ever
had.
had.
It was really easy.
I didn't even they don't even put pressure on you. It's just like
yeah, it was done, and I had no side effects really. The second day after the second one, I was kind of tired. That's the most I can say.
I compare it to the tetanus shot. It was just a little bit of soreness after a while, a little bit of stiffness, but that's it.
Yeah,
I mean that's your body trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this new stuff in your system.
No, I think most of the people are real. They really think it's a conspiracy of some sort by the government to put something in you to track you or whatever the fuck it is, or to actually make you sick. And the other ones are just like it's just my right, and they want to be they want to express their individual autonomy in a way that it endangers the public. And if that's you, you're a dick. I don't know how else to say that. It's what we would still have polio if people thought like this 70 years ago.
We're about to have it again.
Yeah.
I would imagine it might come back. Yeah,
I've seen that because it's like a natural progression of the anti-vaccine. They're going to start being anti-everything. Like it's just going to keep getting worse. Right. And then polio is going to start coming back.
Smallpox,
scurvy.
The moment that there were some schools,
is there a vaccine for scurvy? I don't think that's
the moment they had some students and some schools have their parents sign off saying, "I'm not giving my child vaccination," and they let them into the school. That was the precedent that was set to allow any anti-vaxxer to not vaccinate their child for any disease.
Yeah.
And that precedent is what has made it extremely dangerous because it started a while back, but I mean, the mid 2000s was when it started taking effect, and then measles showed up. 2010?
Yeah,
just like that came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
exactly right.
Yeah. And these things were gone. I mean, they were gone.
They were gone. Yeah, we didn't expect them.
We did it, but like I say, it's all down to education. We're living in a society in America, in the U.S., where half the people are simply so undereducated that they're beyond reach. We need to reform the education system so that the kids that are coming up start getting the right information about everything from religion, the founding fathers and their idea, onto simple things like virology and vaccines and herd immunity. And people are just too stupid. They're too fucking stupid in this country.
Yep.
I think the only term that I like from the Trumpers is the term sheeple, but sheeple's been around for a long, long time. But it's still accurate.
I still like Y'all-Qaeda.
Y'all-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda?
Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda.
The insurrectionists, we call them Al-Qaeda.
All right.
And the Ku Klux Klan, like
The coup.
spelled.
Yeah.
You got it.
A clue.
And
That's
there's a third one.
I've heard that. I didn't hear that. I've not heard the
Jihadists. The jihadists.
Jihadists.
Yeah,
That's good. That's good.
Oh, so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christian nationalism is, and I know we're all fighting that on TikTok. But that's the real issue, honestly. It all feeds into the other shit.
Yeah. I almost made a TikTok today. I didn't have time. Talking about what's going on in Afghanistan and how it's been taken over and a new president has been instilled. The head of Taliban is effectively president of Afghanistan now.
Wow.
I don't want to be like, so everyone knows that what they accomplished today is exactly what the insurrectionists wanted to accomplish January 6th, or was it 9th, whatever. Like, that is what they wanted to do. They were unsuccessful because they didn't have numbers, and the capital had a stronger military and police presence. Afghanistan didn't, so they were successful, but that's what they wanted to do. That's exactly what they tried to do.
Yeah.
So just so everyone's aware.
Well, wasn't it? Okay, so I don't want to get into the war in Afghanistan specifically, but wasn't it unlikely that any of this would have occurred? Because the Taliban was just a subgroup that was found in Afghanistan during this time, during the time of the terrorist attack and everything. But we blamed them so heavily that we ended up invading Iraq as well, or was it the other way around? I think it was we invaded Iraq.
It's something like that. I'm not exactly sure even.
But the military and the government there was pretty secure up until we showed up, and then they became so heavily reliant on
not really
extra
in
funding. Not so much in Afghanistan. You would know more than I do about this.
Yeah, like Afghanistan was in much worse shape than Iraq was, but Iraq was had the potential to become like Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know,
but we wouldn't be seeing. Oh, go ahead.
I think weren't we only in Afghanistan because of Bin Laden, weren't we? Because they knew they thought that's where he was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
We went back to Iraq after the Persian Gulf War, just because W made up the mass weapons of mass destruction bullshit, just to avenge his daddy's loss.
Did you ever see the movie Vice?
No.
Ooh, either of you? It's about Dick Cheney.
No,
Christian Bale plays.
Is that about Christian Bale? I didn't see that.
Take a moment and go watch it.
I really want to see it.
It's brilliant. It talks about the war and the money involved in it and all this stuff. It's really interesting.
How accurate is it though?
And it was surprising. Amy McAdams does a great job as his wife, and it's so funny because one of Dick Cheney's daughters is lesbian, and he outwardly came out against same-sex marriage and all that. Mm-hmm. And he did that as a political option and totally broke off his relationship with his daughter in that sense. And then his other daughter became a senator as well, and she took that stance. So then they alienated their daughter so heavily because of this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, Dick Cheney, evil incarnate. What a piece of shit that guy is.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if I would call it tribal, but it was territorial. Tribal is, I don't know the culture well enough to use the term tribal, but I would say it was a territorial battle there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very tribal. Like I experienced a lot of that in Afghanistan or Iraq. Where was I again?
I don't know. You tell me.
But we dealt with a lot of that.
Like missions.
A big part of our mission was, dealing with the war between the Sunni and the Shia. Muslims that disagree on how many times a day you're supposed to pray. So they would literally plant, I know there's more to it than that, but they literally planted bombs for each other along their trade routes because they were at war with each other. So our job was to find these bombs and disable them, and that's what we did. But yeah, it was very tribal. Like there were villages that really liked us. There were villages that really hated us. There were tribal leaders, and each village had its own leader, a sheikh. It's called. We'd go and have meetings with the sheikh, and they'd give us whatever intel or, is this whole thing. But
did they give you fries with that sheikh?
No, they do give us falafels and chai tea sometimes.
There you go.
Ooh, chai tea.
Which the chai tea
Like chai.
is really fucking good. I miss
I
it.
bet.
I miss
Because
it.
they know how to make the good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like it's cool. But like I'd be sitting in security, just like on a knee while they're having a meeting behind us, and then like someone would come up with a little thing of chai tea. I'm like, oh, thanks, and just sip it. I'm like, that's fucking delicious. Thank you so much. But yeah, I'd say tribalism is a good way to describe it. From my experience. I've never been to Afghanistan.
The only reason why I hesitate to say tribalism is because I don't personally know of the culture there. So culturalism, tribalism, and territorialism is two, like they're vastly different things.
They're pretty nuanced,
but
in definition.
If the way you're describing it sounds like that was tribal village type culture, so or a tribal village type pattern. So I can rescind that and say, okay, tribal works. I don't like saying words to define cultures until I know more about the culture itself.
Yeah,
welcome to the world of anthropology, where you can't have an opinion until you understand what you're talking about. We're taught this very early on. So you don't matter. Your opinion doesn't count.
See, more people should know that.
Right? I feel like anthropology would really open a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah. I'd love. Yeah. I'd fucking love.
Cultural anthropology is one of my favorite classes. And it's one of my favorite subjects to talk about too. Just understanding worldviews, understanding where you come from before giving someone else's opinion, and understanding where they come from. And then sociology talks about, like, within a society, what kind of scale you land on. But anthropology is about the individual and the culture itself. So it's hit or miss on a lot of stuff. But
yeah.
Do you think that anti-vaxxing would imagine if America was let's see if I can say this right. Imagine if America wasn't built on societies, but instead on villages and cultural focuses. Imagine if America never got colonized. Let's put it that way. But all the technology that's here is still here. And there's different nations all made up of the indigenous peoples. Do you think anti-vaxxing would supersede any scientific knowledge? It's just an interesting what if.
It's if almost we were more tribal.
Yeah, it's almost like we're moving towards a more tribal mindset, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Like people are more ready to man their battle stations at anything that happens. Like anything jarring that comes up on the news, people immediately man their battle stations before they know anything about it. So like, people don't care about the facts or truth or getting along. They just want to believe that they're right and force everyone else to think they're right too. I don't know.
And the issue is that there's only two tribes.
Yeah, that's centralism.
So ultra right and the ultra left, and those are the only two tribes. It would be interesting if there was.
And they're the most.
There are more. It's just they aren't as loud, and they don't have as much money.
and no representation.
Yeah, the media doesn't give a shit about the moderates. Like, when was the last time you saw a moderate interviewed? Like, they always interview the extreme or show clips of the extremists on either side.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Because that's emotionally jarring. That's all they care about. That's what gets them viewed. That's what makes them money.
Yeah, sensationalism, exactly.
They're not going to get you someone on there's like, I kind of see both sides, but I kind of lean a little bit more than I agree with this side on this issue, but you don't see that. You don't see that.
No. And it ends up wagging the dog. The public does get the idea that you need to either be one or the other of these political identities, and there is no in between anymore. And that's the great shame of it all.
Jim has a great question I'd love to bring up. It's how do you feel about the dehumanizing language or rhetoric used concerning vaccine versus anti-vaxxers? So what do you think? So like his example was like, let the anti-vaxxers die, they deserve to die, they're monsters, etc. Do you think that makes them want to be anti-vaxxers even more simply because we are so against it? Do you think that antagonizing so
because it's giving them the persecution that they want,
right?
They want to feel like you're the boogeyman. They want to feel like they're the victim. They have what I like to call a victim hero complex. Like, oh, they're coming to take my guns. Well, they can take it when they pry them from my cold dead hands. Like, victim and the hero of their own story. So that's what they're doing.
How do we combat this? How do we get beyond this whole victimization concept and move into a idea of anti-vaxxers finally with an understanding. Like, I know how I would answer this, but I want to hear your answers.
You have the answer. Well, then why
I don't have the answer.
first?
I said I know how I would answer this
Okay,
question,
all right,
but
all
I want to hear how you guys would go about it.
It's a tough one. I'm not sure how to answer that, other than
that's a good
it'd be
question.
nice. It'd be nice if the government could be removed from the equation, because I think anti-vaxxers see it as a plot by the government. When, like I said before, it appears to be that the government is trying to mandate vaccines when the government is following the science's lead. In this case, the government is following what the medical community has decided, what the medical community studies and looks into these problems and recommends. This is the only way and the best way to get rid of the virus. But the person who watches Fox News sees it as Joe Biden telling them what to do. And I think if it somehow can just make it, the demonization of science is a big fucking issue in this country. And if we could get back to the point where people could just understand that this is, people have an expertise that you don't, as a dollar store cashier or a janitor down at the local gymnasium, you're not qualified to argue with the guy who studies viruses for his fucking life.
But not to say that job is unnecessary.
No, of course not. Of course not.
But
again,
like not dehumanizing the position, but that's not what you're trained to do.
Right. As a lawyer or the architect, anybody, name any white collar job you want. If you're not a scientist, why are you arguing with the scientist? You're not qualified. But people see this as a government effort, and I think that's a failing in the propaganda, if that's the right word. I think we need to see the medical and the science industry be the push behind this instead of the government, because I do think there's a huge mistrust of the government.
Or do you think it's the political ideology behind governmental actions?
I think the problem is that the people don't want to. They don't trust the government. They don't want to think that the government is telling them what to do.
So if we weren't a bipartisan, bipartisan country, if that was the case, do you think people would trust the government more?
I think more people would trust the government if they felt they were represented in government.
Even though we have a 50-50 standing for the most part.
50-50 as a Republican Democrat?
Yeah.
That doesn't represent me.
Well, that's
neither
fair.
of those.
But
you say 50-50,
but we are bipartisan by default. So saying 50-50 and bipartisan, you would then have a fairly even number stance in government. Now, I do agree that we need to have a broader view of governmental policy and politics. So that would be a nice blend, but that's in the future. That's something to be done later. I missed what you popped up there, Ricky.
Chikrea just said that everyone at Fox News has been vaccinated. Yeah, as was Trump, as was
every president,
as was everybody.
Oh, do you want to talk about the Mormon who was a prophet, I believe, up until this past weekend when he decided to tell people that God told him to get the vaccine and that the vaccine was good for you? And now the Mormons think that he's no longer a prophet. He has been discredited by the Mormon community.
I didn't know Fox News was Mormon.
Oh, this has nothing to do with Fox News.
Because that's exactly what they did. But anyway. No. Yeah, when they backpedal, I was like, by the way, you guys should get the vaccine. I know we've been saying, I know that we speak for God and all, but now you should probably get the vaccine. That's not what we were saying earlier, but all our constituents are dying because of our own rhetoric. So if you could just get that vaccine,
the churches are in the same position as the government is, where they're starting to see that it's in their own best interest to keep their parishioners alive. So we're starting to see some of these preachers come out and say, look, I've had 3 people die in my congregation, and maybe he's a nice guy and he really doesn't want people to die. And maybe he wants to keep his job by not having everyone dead that we used to go to his church. So at some point, reality hits home, and like usual, it's in your pocketbook, right?
How many people are going to leave your constituency if you say to get a vaccination versus how many are going to die if you tell them not to?
Right. At some point, it tips.
What risk is this?
Right. At some point, it tips the other way.
And you'd think they would say, it doesn't matter how many we lose. They need to know the truth. But no, that is absolutely something that they factor in.
They will say that, but the truth is not what they're giving them.
Exactly.
They're just saying vomit garbage.
Yeah, they don't give a they're the least pro-life party. Is the pro-life party?
We have a few comments we have a few comments that are talking about FDA approval and what that means. So from what I understand, and from the mindset of, yeah, that's a good point, Robin. I do like that point. But so what it means to have an emergency order within the FDA is simply that the process that the FDA goes through in testing is sped up. That's all it means. It means that it was at the bottom of the pile, but because it's urgent, it gets put to the top of the pile, and that is what they focus on until it gets pushed through. So when an FDA approval is met via an emergency standard, it doesn't mean that the FDA didn't approve it. It means that the FDA approved it under strenuous circumstances, which scares people because then they think that it didn't go through all the testing that it needed to. It went through the testing. It just went through it very quickly. That doesn't mean that it's not going to get approval, because it's going to get reapproved in the basic sense because they're still testing it. But that doesn't mean that it's not FDA approved, because I think it's stupid when people say, well, it's not FDA approved. Like, they would not be passing it out in the millions if it hadn't gone through FDA approval.
What does MLM mean in there?
I'm not entirely sure what MLM means, but I think what they're referring to is the not apothecary. What am I thinking of? The homeopathy remedies, like how they believe those little sugar pills with a little bit of rosemary put under the tongue will help you with headaches and things like that. Things that are homeopathic and have like putting one of my favorites, putting amethyst crystals in water bottles because it purifies your soul. That's
multi-level marketing. Yep.
Multi-level marketing, that works too.
Oh, okay. There you go.
That's also, yeah. So that's not what so not homeopathy, but
Correa brought up supplements do not need to be FDA approved, as
exactly,
which is true. And again, because of Reagan, because capitalism, like he was the one who enacted that into law. So when he did that, the supplement industry, which I used to be a competitive weightlifter, so I know a bit about this. The industry was just flooded with products because they didn't have to be tested. You could make whatever claim you wanted about them on the labels, and they didn't have to be true. Now, someone could come in and potentially test your product, but that never happened, and there was laws put in place to prevent that from happening as well. So all these supplement companies were able to do a lot of the shady shit, like one's called amino packing, where they use like a cheaper alternative that can technically legally be considered an amino acid, but it's not. And there's a whole bunch of shady shit that goes on, or that went on in the supplement industry and still does.
I believe, yeah. So Mr. Zach said Mormons love MILMs, or the MLMs. The one that I think is the one I can only think of, which is huge, is the Young Living essential oil products. And I don't know if you've ever come across Young Living, but that is a big one that's here in the Midwest and all around it. All it is this it's a pyramid scheme where you buy and sell essential oils. That's all it is. And I know people that have given up all of their medication because they like the smell of bergamot and it makes them feel better.
I like frankincense.
Frankincense, yeah.
That's my favorite one.
And murder.
Frankincense. Now I know why Jesus got this for a present. It smells really good, man.
It does. Frankincense smells great.
It does. It's one of my favorite ones. Yeah,
I was like, when I hear that story and I think about the Christmas Carol, it's like a child shivers in the cold. Let us bring him silver and gold. I'm like, yeah, how about a fucking blanket?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
if he's shivering in the cold, what the fuck is he gonna do with gold? He's cold.
He a small child, clunk.
What's he gonna do with frankincense? You selfish fuck! Bring him a blanket and a pillow.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway,
I had someone. So there was. This is probably off topic, but because you just mentioned that, it just made me remember. I remember going to a church service one time that was outdoors, and it had a big bonfire, and they did the whole Bethlehem, Mary Joseph thing, and they're just like, and they gathered around the fire. I was just like, they're in the manger that's filled with hay.
Yeah.
They do not have a
Not
fire.
safe.
There was no fire.
Not safe.
There's no fire.
No, that's
You dumbasses. There's no fire here. That child is cold. Sorry. That's what that reminded me of. I remember a church camp doing that. It was hilarious.
Does it ever snow in Bethlehem? I feel like it's a desert like the rest of Israel.
So desert does drop to like
it gets cold at night. Yeah, I dig it.
Temperatures, absolutely. Don't think snow is a big issue, though.
No, I don't think
it's
so.
a metaphor, Nat. No, you fuck off.
I just realized that Captain Dadpool is Ricky. I thought Ricky was like a producer that was behind the scenes.
Oh no!
And then you called him Ricky.
The man behind the curtain.
I'm like,
Oz
Ricky?
is not here. No,
Ricky's
yeah.
It's such a cute
Rob,
little boy's
Ricky,
name.
Ricky, Rob.
Ricky.
Isn't it? I fucking hate it.
Why not Rick? Why not Richard?
I don't
Ricky.
know.
Ricky.
Yeah,
I'm just not allowed to call him.
So
Rick.
That's what I really liked about being in the military is everyone called me, as a corrections officer, everyone called me by your last name, which is Brock.
Yeah.
That's way better. That's a way cooler name. Don't call me Ricky. Call me Brock.
Brock.
Boom.
Yeah.
Manly, right? Yeah, I've always hated it. And I was named after my dad, who was named after a World War I pilot of some kind. I can't remember. So apparently it was manly at one time. It's just not now.
Ricky isn't?
I just think of Ricky Schroeder from Silver Spoons. Maybe you know the actor.
Yeah,
you guys are too young.
Yeah. It rings a bell.
Ricky Tikki Tavi, Ricky Lake.
Ricky Tikki Tavi was an amazing story. That's still one of
I
my favorite
love Ricky Tikki Tavi.
Ricky Tikki Tavi is like the fact
but
that
I've heard them all.
I love Mongoose.
I've always wanted to pet Mongoose because of Ricky Tikki Tavi.
They're badasses. They are
cool. Everyone says on Honey Badger don't care, but Ricky Tikki Tavi's the real badass.
Yeah. I agree completely.
Oh yeah.
Melaleuca. Oh yeah, that's another one. Holy shit. Yeah, Melaleuca was a big one as well. Even I was involved in that one.
What's that?
When I was living in Texas. Another MLM pyramid scheme.
I don't know what that is.
Melaleuca is Wolfsbane? No. God, I remember what it was. Hold on. I remember what Melaleuca.
I almost got roped into Amway.
Amway was the original, wasn't it? That goes way back.
Yeah, I almost got roped into that.
Yeah, Melaleuca is
and Avon was one of the original ones too.
Avon, but Avon has decent.
Avon has some stuff that you might want.
Decent products. I'm not biased about this because I don't know a whole lot. Tree oil, that's it. No. I don't know a whole lot of people that actually sell Avon, but like Mary Kay was a big one. But Avon, I remember. Avon was interesting.
Ding dong, Avon lady.
Avon lady. I just remember when I was a kid that my mom would get those Skin So Soft, and I was actually allergic to this stuff, but I remember it because she would get it and she's like, it works because it keeps bugs away, and I'm like, it keeps bugs away, but that's no better than me just itching my skin from it. Like I don't see the benefit, mother.
Yeah, not much of a trade-off there.
She loved it. She'd always got it, and I can still remember that smell. And then she'd get those bubble bath sets, which were great. I loved those. But when will the vaccine be available for kids under 12? I don't know. I am not
soon.
Professional. I would assume soon.
October-ish in our area.
October-ish. Okay. I don't have small children myself, so I haven't paid attention to that particular answer. I think it is a county by county, state by state guidance. So
yeah, probably the CDC will recommend, right? And then it'll be up to the states and the counties to dole it out.
Hey Nat.
Yes.
I'm gonna go use the bathroom.
You are awful.
This guy, he's calling me old with the bathroom issues.
Yeah, but okay. So behind the scenes, everyone, I was told at the beginning of this that I need to not cough I need to be professional and not cough. And I said I'll be professional and not cough if he acts professional and doesn't leave to go to the bathroom. He's left to go to the
And
bathroom.
here he is going.
What I don't understand is why he kept his camera on. We could have kept talking.
Right? We'll probably hear it in the background. It'll be like
No, we won't. He's the bathroom's far enough away. Oh yeah, the cat's here. The cat's here. We can talk to the cat.
There you go. Ricky's cat. He's probably got something intelligent to say, right?
He has like 4 or 5 cats.
Yeah.
No, so do you have any pets? Speaking of cats?
Yeah, there's an Australian healer at my feet.
No.
Yeah. Where you at, Ginger?
Somewhere.
She's never far away from me.
I have a German Shepherd lab that's all of 5 feet from me, passed out on the floor.
Ginger. There she is. Come on. You see? Oh, there she is.
Oh, oh, she definitely has the healer face. That's so.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's a red healer. She's awesome. She's really stuck on me. She doesn't.
Well, I mean, they are meant to be like 1-person dogs. So
yeah, they are.
It's a good deal.
Yeah, she's just 3, so.
Aw, she's little.
Yeah, she's
just
little.
Getting to be an adult.
Yeah.
She talks. About to tear it down, Ricky. You better.
You can tear the curtain down, and we're gonna see the wizard behind there.
No. Bad. Bad kitty.
Bad kitty.
Is that like your home theater there? You get the curtain. You get the.
Yeah, it's like his little stand he puts up before a show.
Yeah, it's
his living room.
My living room.
I got toilet paper in the background in my studio.
I'm gonna get a green screen.
I have too much stuff to talk about behind me.
Yeah, you got antlers and.
I do. I have antelope antlers. I have deer antlers. I have a bunch of skulls. I have like 2 raccoon skulls, a beaver skull. I have a cat skull. Tons of rocks, all sorts of fun stuff. I have a shovel and some walking sticks.
Oh yeah, a little fox skull. I like that.
Yeah,
I like skulls.
Yeah.
There we go.
I don't have a fox skull myself. That is one of the things I'm waiting to collect someday, whilst walking in the woods. We'll see. I'll come across it eventually. I've come across a few coyote skulls, but they have been not quite decomposed enough for me to take them home.
Yeah, still smell. They still stink.
They still smell, and there's still fleshy bits attached.
They got maggots on them. We did our highway cleanup. The atheist group did our highway cleanup the other day, and that always reveals some dead critters.
It does, but at the same time, I love doing highway cleanup. You know, kind of cool shit that you can find sometimes.
Yeah,
I have found some really interesting things. And there was one time I did a highway cleanup with a club, and I got like $300 because of all the money that we felt, because it was such a main highway. We just found
wow.
It up.
That's a lot.
Dustin's like, nerd segment.
Right.
Move on.
Dustin's like, all right, this is getting boring.
Sorry, Dustin. I apologize for being boring you off. So it turns out that Rob here is a cinemaphile. He very much enjoys the Marvel movies, so I think we're going to chat about that a little bit.
What do you think of the Phase 4? I'm into it personally. It was a letdown after Endgame, wasn't there? Is there a little bit of and then COVID hit, so nothing really happened in 2020.
I think really it was just the COVID that kind of pushed it down. I mean, Black Widow was supposed to come out last September.
Yeah, it was really over a year.
And I feel bad about the whole lawsuit that she's going through right now, because they released it on Disney Plus, which means she's not going to make
that's
half
shitty,
the amount of money that like everyone else did.
That's shitty of them to do that. Did you like the movie though?
I haven't actually seen Black Widow yet, so I can't talk about it. No, because I don't have the I have Disney Plus, but I don't have the premiere access. So
I went to the theater.
You went to the theater?
I went to the theater.
I live in a place where I don't trust the theater. I am in southern Missouri, which means that COVID Delta variant is everywhere. I'm
sorry. Southern Missouri is fucking Hickville, man.
I told you I was in the Bible Belt.
Oh Lord.
I warned you.
People from outside the country ask me what the Bible Belt is sometimes. And when you really think about it, the Bible Belt's the whole country except like Boston and New York and Seattle and San Francisco. Everything else is the fucking Bible Belt. So there's this weird section of Utah, and then it kind of skips a little bit. And then as soon as the mountain ranges start in the very far eastern side of Oklahoma, that's like the start of it. And then it moves on up into the Appalachian Mountains, and it ends right around Pennsylvania. So it's was that a yawn or were you gasping?
Both. It's both.
But yeah, so
It was a
we
hybrid.
joke that that we're in the belt buckle, because we have the most. Well, we may not have the most evangelicals, but we have the most outspoken people within Bible community, at least within the Bible Belt. We are where I am is close to the home of the KKK. I mean, it's all sorts of fun stuff. Not really.
Ozarks.
There's a fly. Yeah, the Ozarks.
Arkansas making a push for the most backward state recently.
Well, I'm all of 10 miles away from the border, so.
Are you?
Yeah.
I can't go anywhere without seeing a Trump 2024 sign or one of its
I
variants.
trip. We're in Wisconsin.
They're everywhere.
And we trip over them.
I have not. I have friends that I used to go to Wisconsin every year for Thanksgiving because my friend had a cabin up north of Madison, and we would go up there and we'd go skating, and it was awesome because we also like go down to Cascade Mountain and snowboard, and it was like a 4-day fun break whenever. And it wasn't busy, which I always thought was really interesting because like Wisconsin Dells was never busy during Black Friday. So like that was a big thing for me. I always thought it was great because I'm like, no lines.
Right.
But it was always cold, but I didn't really care. The cold doesn't bother me anyway.
Can't we just unbuckle the belt? That's what we're trying to do.
Why do you think I live here? No, I'm kidding. I'm not here to break the seal.
To undo the pants.
Yes.
Of Christianity.
Yes, we want to see the Bible penis. Unbuckle.
No, we don't. We want to see the humanitarianism. But yeah, why can't you just unbuckle the belt? I wish.
Yeah, Marvel.
I mean, there kind of is a bit of a struggle between evangelicals and Baptists in this area, especially the tele-evangelicals in the Baptist community, because the Baptists here still believe in they'll do large churches, but they believe in their specific biblical yada hoodie, and then the evangelicals or the tele-evangelicals are all for making money. That's what they do, and even the Baptists are just like, we can't trust the evangelicals. So
every time we try to undo the buckle, the pastors keep touching
it. That's not okay. That's not okay.
Yeah, it tracks.
Yeah, it tracks. So. Yeah, that makes sense.
So back to Marvel. There's a guy on TikTok, and I can't remember his name, but his profile picture just says like 22. He is taking every Marvel movie and splicing it together into one, but he's making it scene for scene chronological and adding in the deleted scenes.
No, I didn't know
all
this.
into one massive render. So he's like shows like the process. He was like, I'm gonna take this clip from Iron Man that is chronologically somewhere in the Incredible Hulk. And so we're going to space out the Incredible Hulk and insert this scene from Iron Man.
Oh my god!
So yeah, it's like perfectly chronological.
Wow,
that's impressive. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's an undertaking.
You can legally sell that, but I will buy it.
Yeah,
it might be a long ass show, but I would totally watch it.
I would.
Perea would like to ask Rob.
I did
if you have seen The Boys.
I love The Boys.
You have seen The Boys, okay?
God, yeah. Oh yeah.
I love The Boys, and the Mr. Incredible. Is it not Mr. Incredible? Mr. Invincible. Invincible. Have you seen Invincible as well?
Yes, the cartoon, right?
Yes.
Invincible was really cool. My son turned me on to that.
Not all of it.
That was
a bit
good.
Gory. Not any more so than The Boys, though. Honestly,
The Boys is my kind of humor. The Boys is really right up my alley when it comes to really irreverent.
Wait, The Boys is the live action one.
Yeah. With
okay, I've only seen the first 2 episodes.
I love it.
And my significant other was not really into it, so we didn't continue watching.
It's not hard to believe. It's not for everybody. Especially the way it starts. The first scene. Really,
I mean, it's not the first scene, but it is within the first 5 minutes that there's a really
you're like,
start.
Welcome to what this show is about. And you're
welcome to the truth behind American capitalism and
I was in 100% after that scene.
No, as soon as I saw that, I was like, "What?"
That's just
and then, you couldn't stop me. I watched the whole thing.
Everything about it. That first season, especially, was really good.
First season's great. I love the fact that they figured out. Well, it's no spoilers, but I love the fact that it had to be crude humor in order to blow up the Miss the invisible dude.
Yeah.
It had to be crude
Yeah,
humor.
yeah,
You
yeah. It
couldn't
really
do
did.
anything about
It really did. Yeah, yeah. No,
I will commit next bout of insomnia.
yeah. Binge,
no,
binge
do
the
it.
first season. You'll be happy you did. You really will.
I was gonna say, after seeing that TikTok of like Adventures in Insomnia, I was just like, why are you not watching The Boys? Why not?
Yeah, right. Sometimes I like to watch something familiar.
You're not ready for
Actually, it's
Jason
most of the
Ackles
time,
as
like-
Soldier Boy. I disagree. I am fully ready for Soldier Boy to be Jason Ackles. I think that him growing out his beard, buffing up, and the outfit, I mean, he looks just like the comic. I am very excited for that.
I don't know anything
I
about
have no
that.
idea what this means.
Soldier Boy is going to be in season 3 of The Boys, and he is a contender for the running of the leadership of Voss. So,
Yeah, they're leaderless now. No spoilers.
technically.
Yeah.
So Soldier Boy is supposed to be a step in, and it's going to cause a lot of contingency between the captain and Soldier Boy. It's not the captain, but I'm calling him the captain for the sake of people who don't know what else is going on.
So going back to Marvel, I got to do something really cool when Age of Ultron came out.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this story.
A theater near me did a Marvel movie marathon that played every movie up until the new Age of Ultron. And it was like $130 a ticket, but that came with like a T-shirt, like a marathon, like medal, like you ran a marathon, haha, and like unlimited drinks. Like came with all the shit, and yeah, it was like 30 something hours long in that theater, just watching every movie, and it was awesome. Like we fell asleep with one of the during like the second Thor movie because it was fucking garbage. We all went and got breakfast and then came back from Chick-fil-A. Yeah, I went with a group of friends and my ex-wife, and yeah, that was fucking epic.
Yeah, Dark World was rough. I watched all of them on Disney Plus in a row again with my girlfriend who hadn't seen a whole lot of them, and of course by the end of it she was in love with everybody. But Dark World on a second watch, Thor 2 contains a lot of shit that makes sense when you watch it. You're like, oh, this led to this and this led to this. There's a lot of stuff in Thor 2 that are kind of key to the whole story arc that you kind of miss the first time you watch it because it's such a shitty movie. But when I watched it again, I actually liked it better. I actually liked it better because you understand, oh yeah, I forgot this happened and that led to.
I think the biggest issue with the Dark World was that they tried to get the tone of Captain America and put it with Thor. And Thor is naturally a more humorous comic than any Captain America and S.H.I.E.L.D. comic. So with that precedent, they tried to be more dramatic, and but they didn't need to. Honestly, the storyline in and of itself would have held together without the extra drama. Or that underlying tone of sadness.
Here's one for you. Do you think, and this is the only real comic I ever looked at when I was a kid was Captain America, a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. But my takeaway from reading Captain America when I was a kid compared to the Marvel movies was that the Captain America character was a little more cynical and kind of put upon. And
he was bullied as a kid.
He was always even when he was a hero, it's like he wasn't that guy who always won. He kind of always was getting sidekicked, you know what I mean, in some kind of way. And I love Chris Evans. I don't know who could have really done much of a better job, but I think that they were missing a little bit of that quality to Captain America by making him so perfect and such a goody and so good looking. Where I think he could have been.
I think he just needed to get beat up a little more. That's
a little bit more, right? I guess maybe that's it.
A little bit harder.
Getting beat up does build character.
I think he was just
build character.
He was a little bit too goody, a little too Christian for me. I could have done without the comment about there's only one God, ma'am, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
Well, so but that is a part of that is a part of his character is the fact that he is that's what they're exploring right now is the American nationalism for Captain America versus the patriotism.
I just don't remember it being that
it's I mean
goody
when
in the comics.
When it was written, it was definitely like
like
he was
yeah
all that. Okay, I just saw something in the comics that I wanted to. Oh, Correa is still shooting for us to be to dress up for Halloween, Ricky. You need to be Dr. Horrible. I need to
Yeah,
be
I saw that.
and Crimson Barrel needs to be Captain Hammer. But if not, then she wants you to be Homelander from The Boys, which
Yeah, I'd have to shave my beard.
he does have the haircut though for Homelander.
He's got a little bit of that.
I could
does.
He
pull it
can
off,
pull it off. His face, he can pull
but
it
I
off.
have to shave the beard.
Great casting. Homelander, the guy that plays Homelander is perfect for that part.
Did you see the after show special when they just talked about filming it and everything?
No.
Oh God, it's so great because like all the cast members are there and they're just talking and they look really casual. And I was sitting with my friend watching it, and she's just like, "Where's the guy that plays Captain? Where's the guy that plays Homelander?" And I just looked at her and I was like, "It's that guy right there." And she's like, "You mean the one with the nerdy guy? The one that was like the glasses and the beard and like the button up? That's not him." And then she was just looking at him like, just like staring at the screen like, that can't be him. If you look up pictures of him normally, yeah, he doesn't look anything like Homelander. Like I am impressed by that transformation.
Wow.
It is an impressive.
I feel like his lips and his chin would be hard to disguise. He's just.
But it's not so much a disguise as it is just when he's just himself, the actor.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like him. He doesn't. He really doesn't. Oh, and he's also a really short guy. So I don't know if you saw this, but Homelander wears 4-inch boots lifts on the bottom of his shoes. So he stands tall and everything.
Yeah,
He is shorter than all of his coworkers.
Wow.
So Starlight, yeah. So Starlight is supposed to be like super small in comparison to him, and in truth, she's maybe like 2 inches shorter than him. So
right, and she's little.
She is.
She's a little girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's interesting.
It's a lot like Christian Bale and Tom Hardy in the third Batman.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy is actually like 5 inches shorter than Batman or than Christian Bale.
Yeah.
So
Bane
he had to wear platforms in order to be.
We had to let him grow.
Yeah, exactly.
Has anyone seen the show Preacher? Have you seen the show Preacher?
No. Which one's Preacher?
I haven't.
No? Okay. Well, we're not going to be able to talk much about that then. Preacher is interesting because it's a preacher that fights demons, if I'm not mistaken. And it was on
something like that.
It's on the same channel that does The Walking Dead. And I watched a little bit of it, but I won't get into it too far. It is good. It's very dark, but it is good.
Yeah, I don't know that show.
Yeah. Sounds interesting.
We talked about on a previous episode of American Gods. That was really good, but apparently they canceled it, and I'm really mad.
American Gods has 3 seasons.
Yeah. Like I'd watched like the first like 5 or 6 episodes. I was really into it. And I heard they canceled it, and like
they postponed it, but they have 3 seasons now, so they're back in action. Of course, you lost Kristen Chenoweth and a few of the other characters.
It's still on
it's still pretty good. They're not following the book anymore. I mean, they were up to a point and then they stopped, and it's American Gods.
That's fine. I don't know how to read.
But American Gods, the book, is amazing. Preacher. The show Preacher is written by the same guy who wrote The Boys. I totally forgot about that. So comic wise, they're related, but they're not. I don't think they're in the same universe though. That's a totally different thing.
Who's the star? Is it someone we should know? Preacher? I feel like I should know.
I can look it up really quick. That's a producer. Dominic Cooper.
Oh, the guy from The Wire.
Yeah, he's in The Wire.
No, that's Dominic West. I'm thinking the main guy.
Well, Dominic Cooper, he kind of reminds me of Daniel Radcliffe. Kind of looks like him. Mm-hmm. Just like a rough, tough version of Daniel Radcliffe. It's kind of a weird thing to think about, but Daniel Radcliffe has done some really interesting movies. He's actually quite a talented actor.
Yeah, he is.
Like I enjoy him a lot.
Titan, that one where he has
like to mention
his hands are bolted to guns or something.
Akimbo, right?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
is
guns
great.
akimbo. Guns akimbo.
Guns akimbo.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but I saw the trailer. I was like, what the
Wearing
fuck?
bunny slippers, a robe, and some guns throwing up.
Yeah.
Well, good for him. I wasn't sure he'd go anywhere after Harry Potter because he's actually kind of wooden in Harry Potter.
He did the one where he played a dead guy, which was hilarious. I mean, it was really, the satire is crazy, but there's a guy that's stranded on an island, and then his body washes ashore, and the guy talks to him like it's Wilson. But he's a body, so he like straps him to things and talks to him and like moves his arms and stuff, and so like Daniel Radcliffe has an expression on his face, but he like doesn't move his arms or anything. It's really interesting.
I know what you're talking about.
Titan would like to remind us that Captain America has a pot belly, a MAGA hat, keeps running into buildings that he doesn't belong in, and should be a character.
Captain America.
Captain America.
That should be.
America.
America. Fuck yeah. Coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah. Still slaps.
Still slaps. Oh,
who's the one Daniel Radcliffe
Dominic,
played
I know who Dominic. Okay, so let's do a correlation. When in the Captain America movie, the first one, you meet Howard Stark, right? Do you remember the beginning of that? You meet Howard Stark, and he talks about going and getting some cheese fondue with Captain Carter. Well, the man that plays Stark in that movie, Howard Stark, is Preacher. He's the one that plays Preacher.
I like that actor.
Yeah,
I've seen him in other shit. He is really good.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, he's like a darker version of Daniel Radcliffe. He just kind of has that type, that look, that feel.
Yeah, he played young Howard Stark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Bingo. Thank you for
exactly
that.
Who that is. Thank you. Yes.
Correa did a great job. Yeah, thank you for that. That's a good one.
Might have to check out Preacher.
Yeah, Preacher's pretty good. I watched the first season and I loved it. I just never got back into it. I think it's on Hulu.
It is so rare that I get to watch TV. Like literally, I only watch TV when I can't sleep at night.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of time either
because there's no point. My kids are loud. I can't.
How do you have time? What the hell? When do you sleep anyway? Between making knives, making fucking 1,000 fucking TikToks.
He does a TikTok between his knives.
Honest to God, making Harry Potter wands for people and whatever the fuck else we got going on.
Do a TikTok.
Keeping your hipster hair perfect. When the fuck do you sleep?
His hair does that naturally. That's the fucked up part.
It doesn't shave itself on the sides naturally.
Yeah, I have nothing.
No, I have nothing. You have hair.
There's nothing in my hair.
I believe that does that naturally.
No big deal.
I'm
not trying to brag.
Recently,
superior genetics. That's all it is.
I was trying to find something I could make a Captain Deadpool wig, and kind of just like stick it on my bald head.
Have you seen those hats that have like the fuzz on it? You could have brushed one of those.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe one of those will work.
Find one of those at an athletic center or something.
Good.
But yeah,
we'll see when I get out of the military in February. I'm gonna start growing my hair out, and it's gonna be long.
Are you still in?
Are you gonna go full Viking?
I used to have a
Are you
ponytail.
gonna go full Viking? Keep shaving the sides, but let the.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go full Viking.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm still in the National Guard, and I get out.
I am excited for you.
In February.
Is that Viking or is that Vikings? That hairstyle.
No, it's Viking. Yeah, no, it's a style that was used pretty commonly in Viking lore and Viking history.
I feel like they really went over the top.
Yeah, it's historically accurate.
I love the TV show, but
the TV show is rather accurate with costuming and makeup and that kind of thing. They really were.
They did. They went all out on that.
And then having Gustav Skarsgård as an advisor because he is Swedish and from that area, he understands the lore and how to speak various forms of Nordic. So he actually taught a lot of the characters their accents and helped with that, which was a pretty impressive display of prowess, if I do say so myself. I do very much love Floki. He is one of my favorite characters.
Everybody loves Floki.
Everyone loves Floki, but he is one of my characters throughout all cinema. I mean, like Floki is one of those characters that I can throw out and be like, yes, everyone loves Floki. Floki can mix the boats.
He also played Merlin. After Vikings, he played
in
Merlin.
The Knight, I think it was called, or Haven. I think it was called Haven. But yeah, that was canceled. That show was canceled. They are not making a copy
that's
of it.
another show we started watching and canceled.
You may know, if those of you that don't know who Gustav Skarsgård is, you do know his dad, Bill Skarsgård, who happens to be, or Erickson Skarsgård, who happens to be Dr. What's his face in Thor, the engineer, the mathematical engineer that works with Natalie Portman. That's
not Eric.
Gustav. Not Eric.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård.
He's a great actor. That guy's been in
and then
so
he
much
has
shit.
2 other sons. One is Alexander Skarsgård, who was in True Blood and was Tarzan and was in a few other things. And then he has another son whose name is William Skarsgård, goes by Bill Skarsgård, and he plays it.
Is it Alexander?
I thought Alexander Skarsgård was the one that was in Vikings.
Alexander Skarsgård was not.
No. He's the True Blood guy.
Gustav Skarsgård. Alexander Skarsgård was in.
He's the one from True Blood. Okay.
True
Blood. Bill Skarsgård, the youngest of the 3 of them, was
I'm thinking
cartoon. He was
Alexander
Pennywise.
Ludwig. Sorry.
Oh yeah. But yeah, he was Pennywise.
Yeah.
And he can make his eyes do the weird thing on his own. Which is kind of cool and creepy.
He was the guy that killed in Big Little Lies, Alexander Skarsgård, too. I love that character in True Blood. That's my favorite character. That vampire from True Blood. Loved his character.
I cannot deny that I have a little crush. Not on Alexander Skarsgård. It's actually on Joe Manganiello.
Oh, what a stud that guy is! Oh my!
I love Joe Manganiello. He's such a big nerd.
Yeah, he did. But what a good-looking guy.
He is a bear of a man.
What is he up to these days?
I believe he's on Critical Role, and he played Slade in the most recent. Okay, so the recent adaptation of Slater's the Justice League. He appears as Slade in it, and I think he's going to be Slade in Batman, or maybe it's in The Flash. But he got into DC Comics. I don't know what he's doing exactly. Yes, he's married to Sofia Vergara. Yeah, but yeah, he is. I don't have a lot of celebrity crushes. Yeah. That is one of them.
He's yummy.
Like, I'm very particular.
He's like almost on Jason Momoa's level.
Almost. Okay, first off,
I
have issues with Jason Momoa. Most of my issues lie in the fact that he's Iowan.
What do you?
What?
Jason Momoa is from Iowa.
I know.
I will openly say he has Samoan culture and Hawaiian culture in his background, and I think there is some form of way that we're tied together. Like, my uncle knows his dad or something. My uncle's Hawaiian as well, so there's a mix there. But Jason Momoa and the gentleman that did the Superman movie prior to the British fellow,
Calvin.
I don't know if his name's Calvin. I think it's just called.
Who are you talking about?
It came out recently. Not 78.
The Brandon Rush guy, the guy who played Superman?
Yeah. No, Brandon Ruth.
Ruth,
that's it. Brandon Ruth.
Wait,
he came from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Superman Returns. There was a Superman movie in between the new Zack Snyder shit, which is terrible. Man of Steel was terrible.
There's Henry Cavill's Superman, and then there was
Christopher Reeves back in the day.
Yeah, Christopher Reeves. And then you had the Daniel Ruth one, which happened prior to Henry Cavill's. Brandon that one came out when I was in like junior high. But apparently he and Jason Momoa had known each other growing up. So it's like the two of them were side by side, which I think is hilarious because they're both Brandon's from Norfolk. My bad, Norfolk. But it's really funny because they're both from Iowa and they're both in superhero movies. I just think it's funny.
Isn't that where Smallville is? Iowa?
Smallville's in Kansas.
That's right, Kansas. Yeah.
But Captain Kirk is from Iowa.
Oh, all right. Captain Kirk. Not Shatner, who's Canadian.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't believe you understand what we're discussing.
All right.
Okay, my Trekkie needs to go away. Bad Trekkie.
Bad Chucky.
Well, we're at the hour and 45-minute mark. You guys want to start wrapping things up?
Wrap it up.
I'm done. If
Get
you
your fucking
if you wanna-
vaccines, man. Get your vaccines.
Yeah, get your vaccines,
Yeah,
people.
All
Stab yourselves.
All that to say, get fucking vaccinated.
Stab
people.
yourselves. You know, with you know, like have a nurse stab you
Twice.
Yeah.
twice.
Get it
So
done.
don't
Doesn't
stab
hurt.
yourself at all.
Okay. Rob, you want to plug
Yeah.
yourself again?
I didn't even get a fever after the second one.
I love plugging myself. I plug myself every night
Yeah,
before I go
Rob,
to sleep.
where can people find
Oh
you?
no.
Yeah, we're Atheist
You
Underground.
recharge your microchip, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right. I didn't put Atheist Underground in my name tag. I put my actual name there. Unlike Ricky, who puts Captain Dadpool, so people know. But we are Atheist Underground. All my shit is called
Yeah,
Atheist
I don't want
Underground.
anyone-
I do run a chapter of FFRF here in Wisconsin in Kenosha. That's called Kenosha Racine Atheists and Free Thinkers. But everything else that I do online is called Atheist Underground. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. We are on the FB. I don't pay much attention to Facebook anymore. Who hates Facebook? Right? But YouTube, TikTok,
I'm pretty over it.
YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. We started a Discord and someone like stole our servers, and I don't know what happened. It went away.
Speaking of Discord, though, if you'd like, you could hop on to Captain Dadpool's Discord after this. We do normally have an after show. I don't know if I'm going to stay on it much longer. I have to get packed for tomorrow. But
I didn't. I'll look at that later. I can't tonight. I'm gonna have to go take care of the family. No, it's 2 hours.
I won't
I
be
was
on
gonna say,
there.
in that case,
Sorry,
yeah,
guys.
after
Sorry tonight.
Never
No
mind
after
that.
party
No
tonight,
Discord.
guys.
I mean,
No
it's
Discord on
open.
Discord, but
Anybody can jump
yeah,
on there
y'all can
anytime.
talk on there
But I
without
will
us.
not.
It is available.
yeah, but do find us on all the social media platforms, and atheistunderground.com has all the old podcasts in a row on it. You can listen to them there, and at cafepress.com, Atheist Underground gear. You can buy the shirt, which is probably backwards, right? Oh no, atheism. What's missing? He is. That's my my play on the old church sign that says CH blank blank.
There was
CH,
someone that
missing.
mentioned that shirt in the comics. They wanted to know where to get it, so that's
yeah.
I'm
You
glad
can get it
mentioned that.
Yeah, you can get it on my
Excellent.
cafepress.com/atheist underground gear. And yeah, that's us. I'll be back live on TikTok on Wednesday because my ban was only for 3 days. So it'll be back in time. If I don't do something else, if I don't make a different video that gets me fucking banned from, I don't know.
Never know.
Atheists.
Yeah.
We have a tough road to hoe as atheists in society, don't we, fellas?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, but that's me.
All right.
Thanks for having me on,
everybody.
you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for being willing to come on.
thanks for
I
coming
was
on.
really
Anytime.
happy when you got excited about it. So
No, absolutely, anytime, man. Been trying to get Ricky to
Yeah, this was cool.
pay a little attention to me. He's such a big shooter on the top. He's such a
I don't
Ricky's such
remember
a
you reaching out to me at all ever.
no. I don't. I haven't.
You want me to come on?
No, I'm
here
too slow. I
to show
wouldn't
up
do
with
that.
you?
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't.
Okay.
I don't. I'm not trying to reach out. I like.
I'm
I'm
kidding.
too. Yeah, I know you are. But yeah, that's not my style. I figure everybody's busy as fuck. We're all. But yeah, I'm there for you anytime, you guys.
Yeah. If you ever want me involved in anything you do,
I will. I'll hit you
Sit
up, and I appreciate it. And I did want to say that what we need more of people like you, people who came out of seminary, right? It's so hard for a regular atheist who's not. People have a hard time arguing with what you know about theology. They really do. And when someone like you goes through that much school and comes out an atheist, that's powerful. That's powerful stuff. So good for you for all the success you had, and we need more.
I appreciate that.
And you're not the only one. We all know, if you do what we do, we know seminarians. I know priests who are still priests who don't believe because they went to seminary, but that ended up being their education, their chosen career, so they're going to keep going with it, and they're just ministering to the flock where they don't really believe themselves. So
There's this whole thing called the Clergy Project about that.
Yeah, there is. And if people don't know what the Clergy Project is, look into that. Great stuff.
We should try to get a rep from the Clergy Project on here or something.
Let's brainstorm
we should
and
promote
start.
that. That'd be cool.
Do that.
That needs to be promoted.
Get on that, you guys.
Unless someone else already knows someone on the Clergy Project, in which case, hit us
Mission
up
for the future.
That'd be really cool to talk about that.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being so active in the comments. There's really good stuff in there. Appreciate you guys as always. So we're gonna sign out. Stay tuned for we're gonna try to have a Thursday episode, and next week we have Dr. Josh, who is the author of An Atheist Guide to the Old Testament. I have one more chapter to go in it, and it is fucking phenomenal. Highly recommend it. But we're gonna talk to him about it next week.
Yeah,
and that's gonna be cool. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks again, Rob.
Yeah. Happy Sunday night. We'll see you guys.
absolutely.
Happy Sunday, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
End broadcast.